Hey y'all, it's Sarah, the wine-loving bookworm, back with another book review after a very long break. I know I have been totally MIA for a while. We just moved into our new house. We love the house. We love the neighborhood. We're so excited about it. But it's been a lot of work. So I haven't been reading, one, a lot, and two, I just haven't had time. Also, as you can tell, I'm not in my normal, environment with books around me. I'm in my husband's office tonight. I've created kind of a little book nook, little book reading area for myself. But we don't really have any furniture or anything yet in there, so that hopefully by the next time I do one, that'll be ready. But we'll see. Okay, so let's jump right in, and we'll start with a wine. Ignore the red dog sign behind me. I mean, really, this is kind of his office / man cave, and guys always need the neon beer signs. So anyway, so let's start with the wine. I picked out Girl and the Dragon. I don't know if you can see that. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. I've seen it a couple times, and I just thought it was kind of a cool name. I'm always picking things based on the name. And I was like, okay, how about we do that one this week? So let's give it a shot. It was only $11, so I'm kind of on it. Or I think even less than that. I think it was $9. So anyway, let's give it a shot. Okay, that's actually not bad. Hold on. For Cabernet, that's fairly light. Because sometimes you get a cheap Cabernet and it's tastes like cardboard, But that is pretty light. It's a little on the grapey side, which I don't love. But it kind of reminds me more of a Shiraz than a Cabernet Sauvignon. But anyway, so Girl and the Dragon. Okay for the price. Decent for the price. So, I got that at Publix. Alright, so let's move on to the book. I read Gone Too Long by Lori Roy. And so this was my book club book. And she actually came to my book club, which was very, very exciting. I've never actually seen an author speak before. And she signed my book, which I was super excited about. I've never seen one speak before, and it was really interesting to understand her process, how she came up with things. I've always wanted to write a book, but I just don't feel like I have the discipline, especially with everything else I have going on in my life. But she actually said she used to be a tax accountant, and now she's writing books, so I'm like, man, if she's a tax accountant, I could do this. She had a regular job like I do, and she still wrote novels. And this is her 5th or 6th book. So it's fiction. So the basic outline is it takes place in Georgia, somewhere near Stone Mountain, which Stone Mountain's 10 or 15 miles outside of Atlanta, so that area. Basically, it centers around Imogene. Her father dies, and her mother asks her to go check on this house that they own that's kind of on their property, but it's way back. And there's some kind of wires she finds. I don't remember the details, but anyway, she asks her to go to this house. And when Imogene goes to the house and she walks around and she opens up the basement, and the basement door has all these locks on it, opens it up, she finds a young kid that's 3 or 4, I guess, maybe a little older than that, I'm not sure. I forget. And I'm not even sure if they said so. And she's like, what the hell, And the kid's like, my mom's coming back, I can't leave, and fights her, and she's like, I gotta take you out of here, I just found you here. So eventually she gets her out, and so there's this big mystery about how did this kid get down there? Why is he there? He keeps talking about his mother. And they think it's the dad that was keeping the mom down there, and then the kid was born. They have all these things going through their heads. She's got a sister. She's got a brother. Dad's dead. And then there's the mom. Now, her dad was a Klansman, Ku Klux Klansman. And they do weave in a lot of history of the Ku Klux Klan. I guess Stone Mountain was actually a place where the Klan revived at one point, which was interesting. And it kind of knew Stone Mountain figured into the Klan, but I didn't know the specifics. So she does kind of weave in some history here and there, which is good. So the book switches between perspectives, mostly between Imogene and Beth, who is actually the girl that was kept in the basement originally, that this boy refers to as his mother, and she was kidnapped and taken into this basement. So you're kind of you're saying the book goes back and forth between now, with Imogene finding the boy in the aftermath, and then when Beth was taken, and as she gets older in the basement and all that stuff, until you're kind of converging. So I really liked the book. It was very reminiscent of Room, if you've ever read that, by Emma Donoghue. I know I have talked about that one before because I just love that book. But very reminiscent of Room because it's told from Beth's perspective, who I think when she was taken was like 10, 11, that age. It's a mystery. It's kind of a whodunit. Parts of it I didn't see coming at all. I didn't finish the book before I went to book club, so there was a couple spoilers in there once I got to book club. But it was a great book, and I felt like it, was a little bit like Room, but she did it totally differently. And Lori Roy the books I read, I shouldn't say tends to, because she wrote a book called Let Me Die in His Footsteps, which took place in Kentucky. So a lot of times it's just like this gothic, southern, gritty kind of book style. But I also know she did one in Detroit, which isn't southern, and she did one about a boys, like, what do you call it? Kind of like not military school where you send the bad kids, in Tallahassee. It was a real place, like a reformatory school or whatever. And that the boys would die and they'd bury them. And this is a true story. And she wrote a book on it called The Disappearing. So she does a lot of research, and her books aren't necessarily nonfiction. They're not, like this one wasn't, but she bases it on real things she sees and all that stuff. So anyway, I loved this book. I thought it was great. A lot of stuff I didn't see coming. A great mystery kind of story. It was good. What I didn't like, some things were a little too subtle for you to catch on to. We were in book club talking about the book, and somebody would say, oh, well, this person was involved, and everybody was like, what? Like, we didn't see that. Like, she almost made it too subtle where you couldn't catch it. And then the other thing I liked was kind of the ending. One of the characters went MIA and didn't return, and I would have thought it would have been better if they came back. But she's a great writer, and if you've never read anything about her, like I said, I think she's written 5 or 6 books. Look her up. This is a great book to start with. Lori Roy, Gone Too Long. I think I might have said Gone Too Soon before, but Gone Too Long is the name of the book. And again, I read Let Me Die in His Footsteps, and I really want to read The Disappearing. That's one that I'm going to get. And I think I really want to read all of her books because I think she's amazing. And she's in a contract right now for 2 books. So this was the first one, and then she has to do another one. So another one will be coming really soon. So, yeah, pick up the book. Like, it was great. Okay, so that's my review of that one. Next week, I'm going to be in Maine. So we're going on vacation. I will not be doing a book review next week. But the week after, I haven't really decided yet. I'm reading House Rules by Jodi Picoult. So that's kind of, y'all might have already read this. I know she's like a super, prolific author that makes a lot of famous books. But that's one I'm reading right now. And then my book club, which is next week, which I won't be going to, we're doing Before We Were Yours. So I'm going to read this on vacation, but I'm also going to read the House Rules. So we'll see which one I feel like doing. Maybe I'll do one week, one in the next week. But one of those I'll be doing. So that's all for me tonight. My welcoming back video. So if you like kind of more of a, I guess I'd say sweeter rather than drier Cabernet Sauvignon, pick up some Girl and the Dragon. I will take another sip of that. Yeah, that's pretty good. And Lori Roy, Gone Too Long, or Let Me Die in His Footsteps, or The Disappearing, anything by her. Like, you are going to like it. You're guaranteed to like it. So, I mean, don't quote me on that, but I will say that you will like it. I'm pretty sure. So, anyway, that's all for me tonight, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you in 2 weeks when I come back from Maine. Cheers!